Bizarre is intended for mature, open-minded audiences only. If you are easily offended, we suggest you turn this wacky shit straight off.
I just watched the new documentary series about the Carter family. You know, Aaron and Nick Carter. Are you familiar with them? Like Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys and his little brother.
Yeah,
Aaron,
I think he's coming to Bremerton here in a few weeks. It's so funny.
Nick Carter is?
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. I'm pretty sure he's a terrible human being, and this documentary, the whole fucking family it's rough. I don't, Aaron died a few years ago, that I knew. I didn't realize that another one of their siblings died from like a drug overdose, and the parents are weirdos, and tons of sexual assault charges and accusations against Nick. And then Aaron, before he died, was going all fucking bananas. Then he was found dead in his bathtub. And then there's that horrible photo going around of the water after he was taken out of the bathtub. Someone leaked that photo, and it's hideous. It's just a dark, creepy fucking story, but it was kind of fascinating to watch because it's like celebrities and you got everything going for you. It's just this darkness, this dark fucking family. And I can't think of any bad thing that didn't surround this family. I mean, I don't think anyone was murdered, although there are, of course, conspiracy theories about Aaron, because at one time he was siding with the women that were accusing his brother of raping them. So I can't say, it's hard to say I recommend a movie like that, but it was an interesting watch. I don't know if we talked last time about Baby Reindeer. If I think so. But I watched that. I kept hearing about it, and like so many people, I put off even looking into it because of that bizarre, off-putting title. What could Baby Reindeer possibly be about? But it's based on a true story of a guy dealing with a pretty intense stalker scenario. But it's really funny. PTSD, it's really dark and funny. I've had some stalkers, but I kept thinking during the while I was watching, I was like, man, I used to think that I had stalkers, and I still, I had a few. Mm-hmm. I did have some people stalking me to some degree, but nothing like this. Like this was like the scary stalking, like really legitimately ruining your life. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna send you something. You could take this out if you want. But it was about two guys, and they take this crackhead chick and they stick her in a kennel. Well, one of them decides that he wants to kill her. So he calls the other guy, which is his neighbor, and says, hey, I need help. I'm going to kill this bitch. And he goes, okay, I'll be right over. So he helps him kill her, dismember her, and then they get caught while they're trying to get rid of the body.
Cool.
But she was like literally locked in a kennel. I was going to send you the story because it touched a little on
I know why you were going to send me the story.
I don't. Why, Lyle?
Because there's a girl in a kennel.
I did not put a girl in a kennel. A girl requested that I put her in one of my dog kennels as part of a silly little role play. It really didn't even end up being a sexual thing at all, but it was something she wanted to do, and so I did it. I acquiesced it.
Sounds like the same story to me. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it could be the same setup. I don't know how this girl got in the kennel, but
where's this chick now?
Yeah.
It's so funny because I was just wondering that today. I haven't talked to her in fucking 8 years, 6, 7, 8 years.
Oh my God, I've been doing that joke for 8 years. I need to get some new material.
100%. Yeah, that was back when Radar Station was still in my house.
Fuck me.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I had so many fucking weirdos hanging out here, man. There were parties up on the roof, and then Momo moved in, and then she had her kooky pals over, and it was a wild time in this house for about a year and a half. But yeah, that was 2016 to like 2017, I think. However long the fuck did that go? Wow. It made sense in my head. However long a fuck that go was. I'm kind of impressed that I got back to it.
Second show, baby. Second show.
Anyway, I love these second shows. But the Carter family thing, I don't know, take it or leave it. But I do recommend Baby Reindeer. But, it is funny, but it's like a black comedy. And then it's bleak. I can't think of any aspect of like sexual trauma that isn't graphically featured and dealt with in the series. But I thought it was fucking great. And it's funny how it was getting a lot of praise. And then I heard a lot of people saying it was overrated. And you could say a lot of things negative about it, but overrated is a weird one. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was a powerful and gripping and intriguing story, and so clearly foreign. Anyway, if you're able to handle that kind of content, it's an intriguing tale, and again, supposedly based on a true story. I don't know how based. It seems like a lot of people are trying to find the real people involved, the real people in places, and who knows. You don't have to base a whole lot of truth or a whole lot of your story on the truth to call it based on a true story. But another thing I tried to watch is House of Dragon.
Did you not? How far did you get?
I told you. I texted you guys. I don't think I got 15 minutes. Now, I'm not saying...
You gotta give it more of a run. It's good.
I'm not saying that I won't, but I wasn't in a mood where I could handle such terrible special effects. I don't know what happened. I thought Game of Thrones had great special effects. Some better than others, but the dragons look like fucking cartoons to me, and I can't get past it.
They are better later on. Maybe you just got.
But how could they start that bad? We're 10 years past Game of Thrones ended. How could it not be better than where they left off? And I don't know. I felt like the whole world looked like a video game, and I don't know, maybe that's intentional, but the people looked real. If you're going to do the whole world as a video game, the people need to look like they're in a video game as well. But they looked real, and the practical props looked real, and then everything else looked like a fucking Toy Story.
I would encourage you to give that another run.
Well, that was my question, is how many of you have seen it, and how many of you think it's worth battling through the special effects?
I have to admit, I'm a fucking slut for Thrones. I love Game. I'm reading the books right now again.
Well, yeah, not that
I
much.
love it. I thought Hot D was a different kind of show, but it definitely has a Thrones feeling to it.
Hot D, is that what?
In that world, yeah.
That's what I like calling it.
I put it on my notes as HOD, like a chump.
Hot D.
Such a fraud.
But give it a spin. Some of the characters are really good, and it's interesting because I made Ember. I didn't make it. Ember and I watched all of Game of Thrones in the last 6 months. I rewatched it. It was great. She hadn't seen it, and then we jumped right into Hot D. And she enjoyed Hot D
I'm
immensely
enjoying
more.
this story.
She enjoyed Hot D.
Nothing like a little Game of Thrones to get you in the mood for some Hot D, huh?
But Hot D has it's a smaller group of characters, so they're easier to get to know. Whereas Game of Thrones had this fairly rich universe.
It's a wide world, yeah.
Yeah, so, there is a couple of things because it jumps time and they change actresses for a couple of roles, but they're really good casting.
Oh,
so
okay.
I hate it, but my thing is I'm too scared to get into it because it's just going to suck the life out of me.
It's going to hurt you again?
Well, there's
there's
only one season so far and a couple of new episodes. 1 or 2 new episodes. Well, I probably asked you this before, but does Ember listen to the podcast?
She says she feels weird about listening to it. Just because she's like, maybe I'm getting too much personal or something, and I'm like, what do you mean? But I get what she's saying.
Well, if she's ready to jump in the sack and have Hot D with you, she's ready for the podcast.
One would think.
Think. Yeah.
She has listened to a few.
I kind of get what she's saying though. I feel like sometimes when people tell me that they finally they know I've been doing a podcast forever and they finally gave it a shot. Yeah. I feel like they do kind of look at me funny when it's almost like an admission It's like, it's okay. We know that people are hearing what we're saying. It's not like you put a fucking bug in our living room and caught our private stories. We know people. We know what we say, and it's like you don't have to feel weird about listening. But I have kind of seen. I do think some people feel like, ooh, should I be hearing that? Well, the answer is no. You really shouldn't be hearing half the things we talk about. But there it is.
Anyway. We're putting it in your ear hole anyway.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, before we get moving on to my little thing, do you guys want to talk about what you've been watching real quick? If there's anything new.
Fallout.
Yeah,
I didn't Fallout at all.
I did Fallout. Yeah,
sounds good.
Is that show?
So good.
It's
Well,
good.
that show on Amazon. It's all right. I mean, I think you probably like it, Ron.
It's based off a video game, but they actually really nailed it. I mean, they really nailed it, and I like it because they nailed it.
I've been casually watching the dumbest show called Girls 5 Eva. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, heard of it.
Oh, no.
I'm a big fan of Sarah Bareilles. I think she's a fucking phenomenal musician. Really like her. And she's in the show on Netflix called Girls 5 Eva about an aging girl pop group that's trying to revitalize their career.
Oh.
So they're all like 40 and they're coming back from being like a girl. And, you know, they're like one's a dentist now. One's a, you know, like fucking, I don't know. It's really funny though. It's an easy watch. A lot of quick, funny jokes.
There was a show that I watched, I guess. I don't think it's all the way through yet, but it was like Under the Bridge, something like that, with these girls that were like, I don't know, kind of like bullying another girl. Ended up killing her, I guess, underneath the bridge, but they're trying to find out who actually killed her, kind of thing. And there's a person of interest. Well, she's a writer, and she grew up in the small town. And her brother was murdered, I believe something on the lines of that, or drowned, maybe. Kind of similar situation on how this like girl that was bullied, murdered, you know, found floating down the river. But it's I think it's called Under the Bridge or something like that. It's on FX, or maybe it's on Max. But it's not too bad. It's pretty good, I guess.
Huh?
For a TV series. Anyway.
So we've been watching all kinds of stuff lately, but one show that we were really impressed with was, and I think maybe you've seen this, Chris, was Outer Range.
Yeah, I liked it. I haven't seen the second season yet, though.
Oh man, it's so good. Like
that's the one that has the Mel's hole. That's the one that has the fucking Mel's hole.
Yeah,
kinda. Yeah.
Someone messages me about that show almost weekly. I haven't checked it out.
It's a good watch.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, oh shit, this is kind of Mel's hole influence, isn't it?
You should watch it, Ron. That would be one night. It like immediately hooks you.
Okay.
I initially, like when I first started seeing little previews for it, and I was like, what is this fucking Yellowstone bullshit? Because I'm not like, because like that's my impression was like it was this weird cowboy kind of show, but like because I'm just that whole Yellowstone thing. I'm not into that shit, right?
Have you watched any of it? Have you actually watched any of it?
I can't do it. I can't.
See, that's how I felt too. But like
Yellowstone.
Let me tell you the opening shot of Yellowstone. Like, and this is where. Okay, let me just explain it. You're sitting there. All of a sudden, Kevin Costner's face appears, and it's bloody, and he's like panting, and it zooms out, and he's got a horse right next to his head, like a horse head, and he's like, "I'm sorry, baby," and he puts a fucking pistol to its jaw and blows its brains out. And that's the opening sequence. Like, and then it zooms out, and they've been in a car accident.
I'm oddly in.
And it was fucking, and that's how it starts. And like, listen, I don't. It's not for me either usually, but I've watched all of Yellowstone.
Is Harrison in that? Or am I thinking of another?
Well, you know, is in the prequel. They did two prequels. One was like 1870. What was it? 1819. I can't remember. And they're on the Oregon fucking Trail, and it's incredible.
I didn't know that.
And then they do another one where the family's building the lodge that's in Yellowstone in like 1912, and that's Harrison Ford's in that one. And I've watched them all, and they're fucking mesmerizing. That sounds
intriguing. You couldn't get into it, John Mark?
I can't do it, man. Like I don't.
You just not like Western themed stuff?
No. Well, not that kind of Western theme. So that's why I was initially like Outer Range, whatever. But like they really do a good job with taking like I don't know, it just ramps up, right? It starts out and it's like, okay, well here's this like, you know, family with a ranch and stuff, and there's some drama going on with whose rights to the property and the land, and there's some shit, and then suddenly it gets like Twin Peaks
Real.
season 2.
Yeah.
And then it like other shit happens and it just keeps ramping and ramping and ramping with the weirdness and you're like, what is even fucking happening?
to the point where you're like, is it aliens?
Yeah, it's so good. It's so fucking
Ron,
good.
it's a show you would like.
Okay. Speaking of this kind of hybrid Western thing, did Westworld ever wrap up? That's done, yeah?
They
Yeah,
did.
canceled.
I think they did a 4th season, which I never got to watch because they suddenly just yoinked it off of fucking HBO.
Oh,
really?
Oh, is it on Stars?
Yeah. It's not even there. It's like I think it's on a different service. I can't remember which one it's on, or it's
Wow, is
coming,
that
or
bad?
it's coming to a different one. But it wasn't because it was bad. It was just like it was one of those bullshit things that they do sometimes where it's like, oh well, we're just gonna take this off because whatever, and it's just like, damn, it's just like you can't watch it anymore. Because I wanted to watch the 4th season, and
I don't think I'm not sure I
Let's
ever
be real.
finished the second one, but if I did, I definitely didn't.
That was one of those
Finish
shows
the
where
third
it
one.
starts so strong, right?
Mhm.
And it just started sucking. Like,
Does it? So
season
maybe
2
I
was
didn't
fine.
get. I know I watched all of season 1 and I started season 2, but yeah, maybe I got bored with it. I don't know. That was a while. That was years ago that I was watching that, but
Real quick, that Yellowstone, the
Yeah.
closest facsimile to Yellowstone that I could say is it reminds me I'm just telling this story wise and the way it's produced. It reminds me a lot of Sons of Anarchy.
Sure, yeah.
That biker, show that was
speaking of
really
a show
popular.
that starts good and goes downhill.
Well, there's a lot of
Yeah, fair
bandit.
enough.
There's a lot of.
I liked
rebelness
it.
going on.
It held my interest, and I didn't even really hate the ending. There was some bad special effects. Speaking of special effects, at that
Well,
no
buddy.
spoilers, but the very very end of the last episode, and I liked it. But yeah, it got a lot of
the
hate.
grittiness of just being a rebel or doing whatever you kind of.
I thought that show was great. Honestly,
Yeah.
for the most part,
That's how Yellowstone is, but
just went
it's got a
wonky.
cowboy kick to it.
You
know what
didn't
I mean?
like. I remember we talked about this before, Lau. You didn't like it when they went to Ireland, right? I actually loved it when they went to Ireland.
Yeah, I didn't like it when they went to Ireland because they're chasing after the kid, Jax's kid, and they're like, "Oh, where can we go? Let's go to Ireland." That's I don't. You know what I mean?
It was a little jumping the shark, or in this case, the entire Atlantic Ocean. But
They're a bunch of bikers, for fuck's sake.
they even reworked the theme song to be Irish. It was like
Right.
bagpipes and. But one more show that I don't know. Maybe I brought this up because I've been watching it for a while now. I restarted Sex and the City.
Oh, great show.
It is a great show. Well, it does, and I mean, obviously when someone picks up their fucking flip phone, you're
You're
like,
such a fucking Carrie. You're such a fucking Carrie Bradshaw.
But I appreciate it more because at the time it came out, I didn't watch it. My first wife watched it, and I would occasionally catch it, and I thought it was a good show. It was pretty groundbreaking. It's hard to imagine that now, but when it came out, what was that? 20 fucking years ago or 15
Plus,
20 some years ago. That was pretty groundbreaking to have a bunch of approaching middle-aged women,
I'm gonna look it up.
working women, proudly just being out and living life and dating. But the thing that appealed to me was she's a writer, and I'm a writer now. I wasn't a writer then, and there's a lot of interesting aspects about how you look at life when you're a writer. Just like how you look at life differently when we started podcasting. The more we started just like talking about random stories, we know now when we got ourselves, oh, I can't wait to talk about this on the podcast. It's the same thing when you're a writer. It's like, well, this is going to somehow end up being in print. And there's a lot of that aspect that I'm enjoying, but it's aged, but it holds up, I think.
I remember
26 years.
26
Fucking
years,
wild,
wow.
man.
26
I remember
years.
I remember one episode of one of the girls was complaining about having a torn asshole or something like that, and I just
Like you haven't been there, Lyle.
Compelling
I've seen the
TV.
shit you
That's
take.
compelling
Yeah, well, no, I
TV.
didn't even have cable at the time, so I was like, "What? That's got to be a fucked up show to watch." So I've never actually watched it. I've never seen an episode.
It's
Yeah.
cleverly written and well acted. The stories are mostly relevant to men
I'm
and
sure,
female.
I'm sure it's like
women, but-
Friends,
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's not just for women. I think women
Yeah.
especially of a certain age and maybe a certain time and career, will get a bit more out of it. But it's universal.
Sure.
It's a very well received show. Did you look that up? Did it show how many seasons there are?
Let's see.
Because it went for
Started
a while.
in 1990. Came out in June 6, 1998. Concluded
When I bought
after
my
94 episodes over 6 seasons.
That's when I bought my fucking house.
Yeah.
26 fucking years ago. I have lived here longer than some of the people I've dated over life. Not many of them. The kennel girl. Yeah, she wasn't alive when I bought my house.
Yeah.
We're talking
That was a short phase I was in. Let's all move past. I moved past it. Chris doesn't want to. He's a fan of those stories.
They wanted to, but they couldn't move anymore.
A lot of those stories are forever preserved on the old show, Tales from the Space Pod, because I was talking about my life at that point, and it was.
I was listening.
It was a wacky fucking life.
He was putting it down. We were picking it up.
Yeah, Sex in the City holds up. I would check it out. Anywho, actually, and there's a new thing. Like, there's a new movie or isn't there some new Sex in the City thing?
Oh God, I'm sure.
Well, we don't need to look it up, but
There's gotta be. I remember hearing something about
Yeah, there was like a sequel series. I can't remember what it was called right now.
like a spin-off of a.
They couldn't get Kim Cattrall to come back though, right?
Right.
what the fuck else is she doing?
What was the Sex
Some
and the
people just don't want to do it.
No,
Sex and the City sequel?
notoriously, she doesn't get along with
just like
the
that.
main girl,
Oh.
whatever her name is.
I think it was called. I think that the series was called "And Just Like That."
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the real question is how many times have you watched iCarly?
Not lately. I haven't watched it at all. Once Sarah and the kids moved out, I stopped watching it regularly. We were going through them all together.
Oh,
They loved it, but
Just putting it on the background.
they brought it back. And it was funny. It was weird because they're all adults now, and it was adult humor. And I had a hard time with that for the first few episodes. It was like, oh, this is such a different thing that it was messing with my head. But it's like true to life. You know, you watch kids be goofy little funny kids, and then they grow up and start having adult conversations and talk. You know, even just talking about drinking was weird. And it wasn't like the special episode where they crashed the car, you know, like they used to do with like Saved by the Bell, or there always had to be this say no to drugs episode, or you crash the car. Well,
yeah. Or at the end of the show, they have a little black, like trailer segment where they have all the text, like if you know anybody that's in danger, you should.
Yeah, right. They probably do have to go back and add that to Saved by the Bell. It's like if someone you love secretly put subliminal messages into your daughter to make them fall in love. Yeah. Well, there's that podcast that's called, I think it's a podcast, maybe it's a video series called Zach Morris is Trash or something like that. It was like looking back on all those old I mean, it's true. It's like they pulled all those shows off Peacock. I have to imagine that's for a reason. I miss it because I was loving watching the Saved by the Bell, the old season when they put it up,
like reruns,
the old seasons. But and when Screech died, it was about that time they pulled them all down. I don't know.
Oh no,
I don't know why, but well, they're pretty rough. I mean, looking back at a modern slant, it's like this is some pretty fucked up shit. But we talk about this all the time, like the old sex comedies, like Porky's. They fucking break into the women's dorms and they put up all these hidden cameras and they're like
peeping in them in the
shower, and that's just all. That was every fucking sex comedy was like you were violating women's privacy.
Yeah,
and it was like it's pretty fucked up, and all that was the rom-com. That was what we fucking grew up on. Good Lord.
Did you ever try to do the panty raids and when you went to outdoor ed?
Outdoor ed? What's that?
You never did outdoor ed?
No.
Outdoor education? Where you, for like a week, you go on a camping trip up at, it's in Lake Wenatchee. You get little cabins.
No, but I did summer camp type stuff. We didn't do panty. I know what panty raids are, but no, we never did anything like that. But we were sneaking around trying to peek in the windows because we saw it on Porky's.
I think we actually dialected with the girls to like we'd trade them up or whatever. Give us a bra, we'll give you a jockstrap or something. I don't know, just to kind of keep the memory alive.
I get why the guys want the
It's
bras. I have a hard time believing the women wanted the jock straps.
No, I know.
I'll trade you my cute
it
lazy
seemed to
thing.
me like my generation, my specific generation that did it up in Lake Wenatchee. We our specific cabin. We'll call it cabins because everybody was in different cabins.
Was that Tall Timbers?
And, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm trying to remember the name of the cabin that I was in. But each cabin there was like say 6 or 7 cabins of guys and 6 and 7 cabins of girls, and there were probably maybe 5 or 6 people in them. You know what I mean? And they went by gender, and it seemed to me like we did something on the lines of that, just risque, because we're only like I think fucking 6th grade. We couldn't get that weird, about stuff.
Yeah.
So it was more comical.
Yeah, I mean,
than
you're just
anything.
like figuring out stuff.
Yeah.
You're feeling things and wanting things, but like, how does any of this work? Well, I grew up in Indiana.
Well, I remember.
Go ahead.
Well, one of the stories was I remember when we had a barbecue matches because we were trying to like light witches.
Oh, yeah,
hair.
the longins.
Yeah. And I went to like one of the most popular, hottest, girls, again, 6th grade, that was in my class. And I was like, hey, watch this. This is awesome. And I took because I had Levi's with the zip ups, and I kind of moved my flap over and striked it with my zipper. And it didn't work the first time. And so it's a little embarrassing, but like the 3rd and 4th time, I think it worked. And it was like everybody laughed, and it was funny. And she laughed. So.
Well, you know how it used to be a cinematic trope where the cool guy, whether it was Clint Eastwood or, there was always somebody lighting a cigarette with a wood match, and they would strike it with their thumb. Well, that doesn't work unless you have a very specific thumb strike. I don't know if they're called thumb strike. No, it's a specific type of match. It's got a little tip of igniter on the top of it that doesn't require the strips. But I remember looking like an idiot trying that 1,000 times. But I grew up in Indiana. We lived, the second house we lived in up there was about 3 miles up the river road. And we only had a couple of neighbors. It wasn't quite up into the woods, but we basically lived at like where it was starting to turn into the woods. And right next to me, really the closest neighbor was this church camp. I think the church camp is still there. There was like this big mess hall where they all had like services, and then all these little cabins. And every summer it would be filled with kids all the way up until I think high schoolers. And so when I was a little kid, it was so exciting to a small town boy, little hillbilly Ronnie suddenly has like all these interesting and exciting women next door. And let me tell you, I got a bit of an education, nothing like firsthand experiences, but for whatever reason, those older girls thought I was cute. And I'm not talking like women, like adults. It wasn't anything like,
no, they were high
illegal or troubling. Well, not even that. I was hanging out with, they were probably like middle schoolers, and I was like 4 years younger. But, that's a big difference. Like 9 to 14, like 15 is a big difference. But anyway, those girls were fucking naughty. And they would go, it was this church camp. And I was raised in church, and I was pretty naughty myself, but that church camp was an amazing thing to grow up next to. And I think about that from time to time. It's still there. I assume that they still have their summer church camps, but I never really went to, I went to Tall Timbers once for a 1 week summer camp thing. And I did the Boy Scouts camping thing. They made me the mascot for the Boy Scouts because I didn't qualify for any of the Boy Scout stuff. Because I was too dumb.
You didn't know how to swim or
too
strike
bad
a match,
at everything. I couldn't tie knots. Couldn't fucking figure out how to make stamped leather.
I think they even have a patch for eating, I think.
Well,
Sure.
They didn't even give me a uniform. What they got me was, I would do anything to have this T-shirt still. Just this blue ring top T-shirt with those, remember the 70s and 80s, those fuzzy letters that you'd iron onto a shirt?
Yeah.
They had that very specific font. It's a lot like Cooper font, for you graphic designers out there. That just a classic sort of like rounded serif font. And they gave me a shirt that said Ronnie on the back, and on the front it said mascot. It's like, I didn't even know what that word meant back then, but looking back on it, it's like, what the fuck was that? Like, they made me the mascot. Okay, so they basically let me tag around, tag along, and I got to try to do some of the stuff, but they didn't give a shit about what I was doing. But a mascot usually has some sort of outfit or ensemble, but I just had a T-shirt that literally said mascot.
Mascot.
I bet my mom's got a photo. I got to find a photo of me.
I need to see it.
The fucking Cub
Call her
Scouts all
now.
lined up in their badges, and they got their scarves and their fancy outfits around the campfire, and then my dumbass bowl cut
Mascot
on the end with the T-shirt that says mascot in puffy letters.
That's fucking great.
Oh, if only I knew how much that depicted where my life would go in the future. Just I'm always part of some group, but not quite. I'm always just this odd little thing slightly on the outside of it, half interested in being a part of it and half thrilled to not be a part of it. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Mascot.
I'm still kind of happy just being the mascot with the T-shirt that says mascot. But
Well, we were just taught how to kind of survive, how to start fires and stuff like that. We had a fireplace in the cabin that we stayed in. We did nature hikes, and we were in Lake Wenatchee, so we could walk around the lake itself. And Lake Wenatchee is relatively pretty big, but there's a lot of freshwater stuff in there, like freshwater clams and stuff. So you'd find little clam shells and stuff.
yeah, it's an interesting place.
Yeah, it's a trip. It was I wouldn't mind going back. I did go back a while back with the girl I was seeing. We took the Harley up, and we didn't get out and kind of like walk around just because it was kind of closed. But we drove by it just to reminisce about it. It was kind of fun.
Well, how about we get on to some of these origins of sayings, and I'll keep an eye on the clock, and maybe we won't get through all of them. But this first one is can't hold a candle to. You know that old, you can't hold a candle to me. Well, this one dates back to the 17th century, and its meaning is related to one's incompetence, of course. But the saying apparently came from talking about an apprentice who was not even skillful enough to hold a candle for his master. In short, they were worthless as an apprentice, which kind of goes back to what we were just talking about. I couldn't hold a candle to be in a Cub Scout, so I had to be a mascot.
I heard this differently. I heard that this was the apprentice would hold the candle so they could work, and it still was like, you're like the apprentice to me. You couldn't hold it. You couldn't. But maybe I misheard it. This is one of those ones I heard on a podcast not too long ago, and I was like, that's so fucking fascinating.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I meant to say that some of these are pretty solid in their origins. Others are best guesses, and a few of them have multiple origins. I did double check this one. This one seems to be there's all these linguistics that go back and look into this shit. But it's just as possible.
Sure.
And that's true with some of these. Most of these, you can trace them back a little bit better. But rubbed the wrong way is another one that has a couple of different meanings. Can you guess which the most popular one is, where the idea of being rubbed the wrong way came? It's not sexual.
Animal or a pet. Like you rubbed them the wrong way and they got like irritable.
Oh yeah, like a cat.
That's right. It's often referred to as petting a cat the wrong way. And it's written by Mary Hughes' Aunt Mary Tales in 1819. The phrase goes back at least a little bit further behind that, as far as they can tell. But again, the origins are debated. The Americanized version of this expression definitely came from Mary Hughes. But some linguists mostly agree that it came from early Americans during the colonial times. They would ask their servants to rub their precious oak floorboards the right way. The wrong way is not wiping them with dry fabric after wet fabric, and that would cause streaks to form and ruin it, leaving the homeowner annoyed. I prefer the cat version of that origin.
Yeah.
But it makes more sense the other way. I don't know. I buy both of them, but both have been traced back to being from those origins.
Hey, Ron, would you say that's a pussycat?
Mm-hmm. Well,
You're like, yeah, it was.
we've all rubbed a pussy the wrong way.
Yeah.
They will let you know. Well, if they're comfortable, they'll
Well,
let
one
you
way
know
it
when you're
goes like
doing it
this.
wrong.
The other way it goes.
It's downstream, not across the river. Oh, no, it's across the river, not downstream. Although it varies.
Kinda like
There's no
violin.
one size fits all. Some cats, I think, like to be pet backwards. It is funny when you pet a cat backwards. They look at you like, the fuck? Are you new to this? I also think petting a cat backwards is oddly unenjoyable for everybody. It doesn't feel good to pet a cat backwards. You got to do it every now and again just to see the cat's reaction. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, come on.
It mats their fur. They don't
First
like it.
rodeo. Bury the hatchet is interesting, and another one that's debated. But the going theory seems to be that there was an Iroquois folk legend about two leaders who convinced the 5 great nations of the time, the Mohawk, well, I better not pronounce any of these, the 5 great nations of indigenous peoples of the time, to stop fighting and form a confederacy. To celebrate the peace, they buried their weapons under the roots of a large white pine tree, and an underground river washed them away. But another popular origin of this, I do this almost once every 5 episodes. I breathe. So I don't smoke pipe tobacco very often. I smoke the remnants of my cigars. Like I'll grind them up and put them in my pipe. Pipe tobacco is long, cut for a reason. It's because the little cigar leaves go all the way through the tube and hit the back of my throat, and it burns and tickles all at the same time. Sorry about that. This next one is debated, and the popular origin of the phrase, cat got your tongue. It stems from, a lot of people think, from... ooh, did you guys hear that echo?
Yes.
Wow, that's old-timey. That's funny because the old show has come up so many times tonight.
Well, I always thought the cat got your tongue was the fact that cats that'll eat you if you ever die. They'll eat your dog's won't.
Would they start with their anchovies? I feel like my cat. Where do you think a cat would start? I don't think they'd start with my tongue, but I think they'd start.
Probably some flat, like your eyes.
I'm a middle-aged man. They'd probably start with
face, probably
man tits.
Face, the face area.
Yeah. Well, that makes the most sense. I'm not likely to drop dead naked. Well, actually,
No,
I'm
a bear, on the other
very
hand.
likely to drop dead naked. Who am I?
Great for the asshole.
It's your face.
A bear will eat your asshole? Is that confirmed?
Bears apparently they will eat you alive, and they'll start eating you ass first.
What the fuck, John Mark?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I've realized I have in common with bears. We like to eat ass.
This is a family show. Hey,
He died as he lived.
Well, anyway, one popular origin of the phrase cat got your tongue stems from the ancient Egyptian kings who would often remove the tongue of their enemies and feed them to their beloved cats. Again, all the looking up I can do on this one says that the origins are essentially not truly known. But another common theory goes back to the old English Navy days. This is a little darker, oddly, when an errant soldier or somebody who was otherwise insubordinate was flogged with a cat of 9 tails so violently it left him speechless. Wow. I like that one because it paints a picture, doesn't it? A very silent picture. Yeah. This one's neat. To show your true colors. In ye old shipping days. A lot of these are tied to the sea days, which makes a lot of sense. That's how a lot of, the vernacular would travel. Lowering your colors aboard a ship to hide your nation's flag was a common strategic move.
Oh, so they wouldn't get robbed.
And in a naval battle, if you hoist your flag high after hiding it, you are showing your true colors. And often a captive or a surrounded ship would be forced to show their true colors and either be set free or blasted into the next life. I thought that was interesting. That one does seem to be pretty well confirmed. Sticking with the naval theme here, to turn a blind eye has not necessarily a good origin here, but definitely what popularized it was the British naval hero. Let me try that again. The British naval hero, Admiral Horatio. I feel better about trying it the third time here. The British naval hero, Admiral Horatio Nelson, and I will give all those tries. I'll leave them all in. He had one blind eye. And once the British forces signaled for him to stop attacking a fleet of Danish ships, he held up a telescope to his blind eye and said, "I do not see any signal, so I'm going ahead with the attack." And thus,
you know what that reminds me of is that, remember the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, the cartoon? And
hey, Rocky.
No, they had that guy that was well-traveled and well-educated. You know, you should know where this pipe and
that guy that was.
That's what your story just reminded me of. I can just imagine.
Was his name Horatio? Hornblower?
That wasn't Professor Peabody, was it?
No. He was the guy that just he was Gallivant, you know, if I could go all around the world. He was a ship captain, did a bunch of shit. He was just a all-around awesome dude. Had a big mustache. It wasn't Snidely, but like he had a big mustache.
Snidely voice.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I can
he had
kind
a
of
little
picture
kid that would like, "Hey, so what did you do about that?" You're like, "I'll tell you." Okay. He tells a story, and
that does sound like Professor Peabody. Well, who was the?
It's not Professor Peabody. It's a different guy.
Who's the little kid with like? Oh man, I'm confusing a lot of cartoons right now. So much of that stuff we used to watch was just bullshit. It was like the same characters basically in 8 different cartoons, the same guy doing the voice. So it does get a little confusing. But anyway, Horatio Nelson was heralded for turning a blind eye to reason and authority in the name of doing what he thought was needed to get the old job done. And again, most researchers have found evidence that phrase existed before Horatio's notable defiance, but he is definitely what caused it to be a common and more celebrated term, I suppose. This might be one of my favorite in the list. I probably should have put it further down, but there's some other good ones too. This is fucking fascinating. So and it's funny because it's one of these phrases that you hear a million times, but if you really break it down, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense on its own, and that is, "You stole my thunder." And we know how it's used. You know, you upstaged me, you stole my glory. But as to where it came from, it was from a peevish dramatist, as I like to call him, John Dennis. Early in the 18th century, after he had conceived a novel idea for a thunder machine for his unsuccessful 1709 play, Aplis in Virginia. And he later found it at a performance of Macbeth. And there is an account of this incident in The Lives of the Poets of Great Britain and Ireland by Robert Shields and I'm not even going to pronounce that name. Anyway, Mr. Dennis happened once to go to the play when the tragedy was acted, in which the machinery that he invented to produce thunder was introduced, a new artificial method of producing thunder, which he had formerly communicated to the managers, and he was incensed by this circumstance, and he cried out, literally, "This is my thunder, by God. The villains will play my thunder, but not my plays. They will not run my play, but they steal my thunder." That's where it fucking came from.
Great.
I thought that's fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
They steal my
like
thunder. And, well, it makes sense in that light. It doesn't really make sense all on its own. Anyway, pull out all the stops. It's another interesting one. Pull out all the stops is something on a grand scale, you know, like just going all out. Give it everything you got, Captain, that sort of thing. The phrase originates from the pipe organ. Stops are the controls which stops the sound from going through the pipe. So when a musician pulls out all of the stops of the organ, allowing all of the pipes to blow out the sound, it's the most impressive and ground-shaking noise an organ can possibly make. So that is pulling out all the stops.
Huh.
And I do like a loud organ. Who fucking knew? I never heard that. Another one that surprised me, to butter someone up. make someone feel good about themselves, to cake on some flattery, usually so that you get something out of it. It first appeared at the end of the 18th century and comes from an ancient Hindu tradition, this is very literal, of throwing balls of ghee butter at statues of gods in order to ask for favors. So they actually buttered the gods up to get what they wanted.
Weird.
It is weird, and that's one of those, unlike You Stole My Thunder, I think buttering somebody up, you think that, I don't know, you're like greasing them up, or you're making them fry easy.
Too, yeah.
It seems like you can find your way to making that make sense, but it's actually one of the most literal translations of any of these origins. They literally buttered people up. This one, I'm going to try to explain. This is wordy. Some of these are kind of eggheady, and this one's pretty eggheady. Giving the cold shoulder. Now, many people think that this phrase came from, I actually like this first definition of it better. They think that it came from the custom of giving an unwelcome guest a cold piece of meat from a rough shoulder of mutton, pork, or beef chop, as opposed to a more welcome guest receiving a warm, tender cut of meat.
Oh.
I like that. More polite way to communicate. Get the fuck out. However, most of experts agree that this is not true. The real origin is far more eggheady. The first recorded use of the expression, I got to read this because it was too much, was in 1816 by Sir Walter Scott in the Scots language in an antiquary. This expression is a mistranslation of a Latin phrase from the book of Nehemiah 9:29 of the Vulgate. Is the Vulgate Bible? Does that sound right, John Mark?
I'm not sure.
Spelled Vulgate, which means stubbornly they turned their backs on you, which comes from a different Greek Bible. See, this is where it just gets too hard to read. It's a bunch of Latin shit. But the quote is, "Ye may find that the Countess's dislike did na gang farther at first than just shooing o' the called shother." Now, called is spelled C-A-U-L-D, and shother is spelled shother. Now it says,
You see, they call me the biggest dickies.
who you called shother? It goes on to explain where called is the equivalent of cold, and shother means shoulder, which is further supported by contextual usage in the antiquary. Neither eating nor food is expressed in the passage, but the phrase is presented in rather elusive ways. The phrase also appears in one of Scott's later works, St. Ronan's Well, and after 1820s, it traveled to the United States, dating as early as 1839 in a letter to the editor in the New England newspaper, the Bangor Daily Whig and Courier. That is the nerdiest one, and I feel like you might know less than you did when we started, but that is where that fucking came from. Some of these are like so simple, and some of them are so fucking crazy. Now, here's a little trivia for you. Do you know the source for the phrase, a wolf in sheep's clothing?
Yes.
Sure.
We'll say it.
Well, it's the undermining of somebody's demeanor.
Not what it means.
Really are. You tricking somebody, basically.
Yeah.
Wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, that's what it means. But do you know the origin, where it came from?
Oh God, no! It's biblical, probably.
Yeah, good guess, Chris.
I have no idea. Yeah.
That's the Bible. It is the words of Jesus himself, where he warns, "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves." Now, this came up in my world lately because I was working on a piece for my art show at the Mac Gallery here in town. Ultimately, I went with a different Bible verse, which is, my house is a place of worship and peace, and you have turned it into a den of thieves. It's a similar type message, but I have these conversations with my mom all the time, she knows the Bible way more than me, but she's fallen prey to the QAnon cult, and it's funny because she doesn't see that the Bible actually kind of warns against this. Now, whatever you think about the Bible, whatever you think about religion, you can look at what these people are reading and are supposedly taking as literal gospel, and pick some things apart, right? You don't have to believe in the Bible. You don't have to believe in God to do that. And I was just pointing out, like, this is literally your gospel telling you to beware not of gays, not of even people getting divorced or having premarital sex. Even more than murder, you're going to hear more talk about this kind of idea, lying, a wolf in sheep's clothing, and more importantly, corruption within the church itself. These false prophets who claim to be preaching the word of God and are only actually out for their own interests. And how you can look at any of these mega churches and call them anything else than false fucking prophets who are using the word of God to bolster up their own fucking life, their own riches, their own little kingdoms, their own political ventures, is beyond me. But the Bible warns about it. It's right fucking there. And it also warns that you will be blind to it. So it's an interesting conversation. That one I had to include. This is another bit of a complicated one, but under the weather. This is a phrase that, again, I thought was simple enough. It's like, it's just, some people consider bad weather to be a miserable experience, but also, I don't know about you guys, but whenever a storm is about to blow in, and this is not an old age thing. This has been something my entire life. Whenever a big storm or even a real shift in the weather is about to move in, I feel it in my body. I feel a little fluish for a couple of days. I get these bad headaches. I feel pressure in my side, like everything's changing. And that's a real phenomenon, but that is not what is tied to the saying, apparently. So I'm going to read where I got this one, and I did double check this with a few different sources. It says, we often say someone is feeling a bit under the weather when they have a mild illness or just not feeling 100%. But why would we phrase it that way? The saying's origin go back to Britain's seafaring past, once again, although the precise explanation is difficult to pin down exactly. In the days of sailing ships, the weather bow or weather rail was part of the ship that faced directly into bad weather. And during a storm, this was the worst place to be. So the original saying was under the weather bow, which meant in a poor situation or ill, and it later became shortened to under the weather. And there's a competing explanation that claims that sick sailors would be sent below deck to recover. They were said to be sent under the weather rail, which is where the connection with illness came from, because that would just be the part of the ship that they would put everybody who was sick, because you don't want to get everybody else sick, and you wouldn't put everybody else anywhere other than the worst part of the ship to be, which was under the weather rail. But there's
sick sailors were sent south.
6 sailors were sent south to be sick somewhere else.
Six sailors.
That's a real deal, dude. When you're on a boat and somebody starts throwing up and getting sick, dude, it's contagious. It affects everybody. That's why I could see that, most definitely.
Well, there's yet another, a third explanation, and that's the phrase originates from the fact that when a ship pulled into port because of a storm, it's docked under the stress of weather. So being under the weather basically just meant you're out of commission. All of these are believable, so who knows on that one. But it's funny how many of these origins supposedly came from the sea.
I've heard it getting out from under the weather too, and so that would be like if you're in a rainstorm or something, you got nothing to protect yourself. You're gonna go indoors to get out of underneath the weather.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's end on this one: eating humble pie. When someone eats humble pie, of course, that means they're humiliated, embarrassed, and forced to admit their error. The history of this phrase is derived from a pie, but not the American version, such as apple pie. But across the pond in Britain, pies tend to be savory, like a good old meat pie. I love me a meat pie. Typically containing meat and veggies that are contained within a pastry shell. Numbles refer to the entrails of animals, and they use miscellaneous, over here we call them giblets, I think. It's just miscellaneous parts of the animal. If you throw it all in, they refer to them as numbles, and they used to be baked into the pie. And it has been suggested that the good meat of an animal was reserved for those of higher classes who didn't eat things like meat pies. Meat pies were for the poor, as we learned in Sweeney Todd, while the rest of the animal was given to the servants. However, there are accounts that contradict this theory. Regardless, over time, a numble pie became umble pie, which later was translated to humble pie. So, who knows? I think it makes sense. Numbles, humbles. And the only people who had to eat numble pie were the humble and meek and broke as shit. But it's funny how so many of the poor foods from ye old times are now, I mean, we don't really look at pie of any kind as like fine cuisine, but we love it. It's food that we love. We love meat pies. We love fruit pies. One of the best examples of that in the U.S. is lobster. Mm-hmm. Because back in ye old days, lobster was thought to be this, well, really what it is, insects of the sea. And nobody wanted to eat those. That was for poor people. But it was sustenance, and it was protein. And back in the early days of fishing for lobsters, the lobsters could be huge because they were allowed to get that size. Like they'll grow and grow and grow. And at some point, I can't remember exactly the origin story on that, but at some point, somebody decided to get a taste for lobster, put a little butter on it, and then it become fancy, and then they jacked the prices up. Suddenly that was the rich people's food, and it was kind of like a change overnight. And now we don't have those massive lobsters because we're harvesting them so furiously that we don't allow them to get to be big size. But
yeah, they used to give that shit to prisoners. They would feed prisoners lobster.
Yeah, you can see photos. Like, this is such a new phenomenon that you can see the photos of the old giant lobster. I mean, there's still big ones down there, but not as common as they once were, because now we harvest them. They're fucking tasty. And
I was going to say, if you're looking for something delicious in a pie, find yourself a Henry Rollins song called Custard Pie. It's a little spin-off of Led Zeppelin, but it's, Rollins. So,
real quick, around the horn, what's your guys' favorite pie? If you're even pie people. Some people aren't.
I'm going to go apple, man. I just...
Classic.
I love apple pie.
It's hard to beat. It is hard
cinnamon.
to beat. Mm-hmm.
I love a cherry pie.
Cherry, yeah. John Mark?
Shepherd's pie.
Oh my god.
Yeah, shepherd's pie is my favorite too.
Can we go two? Let's go two. I'm
right.
thinking lemon meringue.
You can do a sweet and sweet.
I keep waiting for Lyle to go cream pie.
Oh no, wasted opportunity.
They like that hair pie.
Oh, we missed a couple good ones. Oh yeah. Some people at home were yelling it before we even got there.
Hair pie, damn it.
John Mark, did you say what was your favorite, Cherry? Or what's your favorite?
Shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie, yeah. I love shepherd's pie too.
As far as like a sweet pie, I don't know. I mean, they're all pretty good, honestly, but I'd probably have to go with the classic apple pie if it's done correctly.
Yeah.
With a slice of cheddar on top.
Yep.
What?
And I was a late bloomer on that too. But I was a late bloomer on pineapple on pizza, and it's a similar thing. It's just that salty sweet combination that you didn't think would work, but
no. I went to a friend's house, and this was like when I was still in junior high, right? And they were like, "You want a piece of apple pie?" I was like, "Sure." And they're like, "Do you want cheddar on that?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" In my head, I was like,
yeah, that's how I'm thinking right now.
Are you a
You're
murderer?
Crazy. And then they were like, "No, seriously, just give it a shot." And I was like, "Okay." I did it, and like, oh my god,
it's wild.
Oh my god,
it is wild.
Well, I like cheese. I like cheese, and I like pie. So,
but I do think it is. Don't you? Do you agree with me, John Mark, that it's kind of like pineapple on pizza? Not that it hits the same notes, but it's a similarly.
Yeah, no, the sweet and savory combination. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and not everyone's gonna love it, but I bet a lot more people would love it than you'd think.
Well, see, that's why for breakfast I have bagels and cream cheese, because you get the sweet of the cream cheese on the bagel and then the bitterness of coffee. Like black coffee.
Yeah,
that's how I do my mornings.
Well, another thing that I was slow to wake up to concerning that type of thing is putting blackberry jam or raspberry jam on like deep fried camembert cheese. That's a German dish, you know, and like it's kind of tied to the Monte Cristo. And the first time I had that, I'm like, I didn't want it. It was like, I don't like. I'd seen people putting sweet stuff on cheese for years, and I couldn't get. But the second I took a bite of that, I was like, I am forever changed. I am a different Ron
similar
Evans.
Concept as like, I mean, this is like a really pedestrian like analogy, but I mean, it's the same thing as like cranberry sauce with turkey dinner, Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? It's like that's
or even peanut butter and jam. If you think about it, if it's a salty peanut butter,
that's the thing. It's like here's the sweet and the tart, and here's the savory and the rich, and
creamy and chunky.
Together, they just
camembert. Man, I miss that shit. Deep fried with that little crust on it, and you smear some blackberry jam on it, and put it on some powdered toast. Oh god damn, it's decadence.
Powdered toast,
decadence. Monte Cristo with that, same thing. I will still put jam on my like turkey and cheese sandwich. Of course, I have to use artificial cheese, but that that combination of salty meat and jam is amazing.
I miss Lauren. All the
her little finger foods that she'd make for Radar Station. Oh. Yeah.
My God.
She's still around.
So good.
She made the last food I had of hers. Well, I didn't have it because I was already giving up all the foods that my body didn't want. But we did a very big Lebowski Thanksgiving at Radar Station. And we put on a Thanksgiving meat, like full-on dinner. And we had vegan options, and we had chicken options and turkey options and stuffing and all the trimmings. It was a full-on Thanksgiving. It was a free meal. You just had to buy the ticket for the movie, and you got booze and food to go with. It was so much fun. But she showed up with a whole fucking back seat full of her little trays of magic. Yeah, she's a good cook. Mm-hmm. And that's all I got. I'm fucking hungry.
You want to take a little break and then
you go eat some food?
Weird Triv?
Yeah. I could use one more pee, and then we'll finish this off.
Go hit some Taco Bell, if you know what I'm saying, because it's harder at night.
I've been wanting to, at some point in the not too distant future, go back and start watching The Sopranos all over again. Because I watched it pretty religiously for like the first 3 years, then I got away from it. Then I caught a later season, and I didn't finish it. And then streaming happened years later, and now it's all there. And then I went back and finished it, but I didn't start at the beginning. And so,
did somebody just say they'd never seen it?
I've never seen it.
What? You never watched The Sopranos?
Not a single episode. No.
I never had cable, so
watch it.
You never seen
it either? You think it's worth it?
No.
Like even now.
I think Lyle would dig it. Yeah. I'm not sure if you would dig it, Chris. I mean, is it worth it? Yeah, it's like one of the greatest TV shows of all time. I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of like saying, is watching Breaking Bad now worth it? Yes, yes, it is. Is watching Battlestar Galactica reboot now worth it? Yes, yes, it is.
See, Breaking
Bad, I don't know. I love that show, but man, was it you, Ronster, that was rewatching that not too long ago? BSG.
Yeah, I've still never finished it, but I enjoy it. I don't super enjoy it, but I dig it.
I watched that series 4 times.
Oh my god!
Well, I think I
liked it. But...
I've never really given it the old, as much attention as it needs. It's a complex show. I mean, it is and it isn't, but I just, for whatever reason, I can't finish that show. I like it, so that's not the reason. But I will finish it at some point. Is it still? Where is it now?
It's on Prime now.
Okay.
It's one of those shows, I think, the rare show that has a really satisfying ending.
Well,
I thought.
Oh, that's good to know. Chris just watched the first episode. So I mean, obviously, that's where you're going to start.
Pretty controversial opinion.
I think you'll know after the first episode if you're going to be into it.
Okay, maybe you'll
get what it is. I think
I tried to watch The Wire. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I tried to watch The Wire, which I think was about the same time, maybe a bit later, and I could not get into that show. I tried 8 episodes. I gave it a real chance.
Well,
I felt the same way about that. I only watched I think the first episode, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
People rave about that.
You didn't
show,
watch The Wire, John Mark?
Fuck out of The Wire.
I remember Chris not liking The Wire, but you didn't like it either, John Mark?
No, I think I watched the first episode, maybe episode and a half, and something else. Just like, I don't know. But it's like the same. Okay, so it's probably the same thing as like with like Succession, because Jen and I watched the first episode of that, and we were like, "What?
People love that.
Why would we want to watch this? This is fucking horrible. These people all suck, and this is like the worst shit ever." And like, but then we went back to it, and it was like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing ever."
Yeah, yeah. You
Because
never
the
know how
character
something's
arcs
gonna hit.
are just like, even though everybody sucks, like their character arcs are so great, and you're just like, the writing's so good. And anyways,
I can
probably the same thing.
I don't know if you'll like Sopranos, but I promise you, if you give The Wire another try, 8 episodes is pretty good. But man, I'm surprised it didn't start hooking you in at 8 seasons. I keep saying seasons. When did you give it a go?
When it was literally right during COVID.
Pretty recent. Well, John Mark, I would definitely give it another shot. I think Chris gave it a good, fair shot.
You know, a show I did get into from that era on HBO though was fucking Oz. Did you guys watch Oz?
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god!
Well, that's funny because that's such a similar vibe to The Wire, and it's got so many of the same actors too.
It was so
get
tragic.
butt fucked today?
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah,
That was what that show
Oz
was.
is tough.
Oh man,
it's fucking brutal.
That was the show that made me realize I am not made for prison. Like I am fucking not gonna be able to do that. So Mexican and or otherwise.
Yeah.
If you don't watch The Sopranos for any other reason, just watch it for James Gandolfini's fucking Pièce de Résistance.
Pretty good.
Oh my god, so good in that show.
There's a lot to like about The Sopranos. I mean, it's not just a mob movie. It's funny. Yeah, it's violent and it's got all that. It's as intricate as Game of Thrones, you know, with all and it's very similar in the way that you've got all these warring factions and you get to know all of those sides and you see what's coming, but it's like this slow build. But there's all sorts of little side stories of like the family and his therapy. You know, a lot of it is about his time with his therapist, talking about dealing with, you know, being a tough guy and killing people, but also having panic attacks and weird issues with his mom. And it was an amazing show. Dated to some degree too, but God, if you watched Oz,
well, I'm
so shocked you didn't like The Wire.
Seen Oz.
Oh, you haven't?
I just couldn't get. I haven't watched Oz in a long time. Like I watched Oz when it was still like the last season was airing, I think. So.
But you watched the whole thing, yeah?
I think I did watch the whole thing, and man, it was an adventure.
It's brutal.
It is, but you can't look away sometimes, even when you want to.
Well, see, The Wire gets into that kind of brutality too at some point, and there is also a prison side story. But each season of The Wire kind of has its own new thing. It's the same people; they're new characters coming in and out, but it's a different shtick. Like the whole first season is like this one, busting up this one drug dealing operation. The whole second season is a different take on a completely different kind of case. And then there's one that's mostly focused on a newspaper and they're reporting about government corruption, but it's all tied together to all these things. And it's amazing. That show's fucking great.
Huh.
Yeah. But yeah, eight episodes should have been enough to get you. Anywho,
So
John
too.
Mark, you got to try The Wire, and Chris, you got to try Sopranos.
Do it.
Okay. All right. Deal. All right. You guys want to do some weird trivia or what?
Let's do it.
It's Weird Trivia with Christopher F. Hart, a man from Florida, poop things, square shit in nature. Don't get me started on the goddamn brown herring. It's Weird Trivia that might get Christopher fired.
All right. Question 1. The weight loss drug Ozempic is sweeping the nation, giving hope to many who have struggled with their weight gains. One of the new side effects being reported, though, is some of the people that are taking Ozempic are developing a lack of desire to do this overall in their life. Is it A, sleep in?
Okay.
Is it B, have sex?
Knew that was coming. That's tragic.
Is it C,
Keep me fat.
drink alcohol? Or is it D, cook their own meals? Again, the weight loss drug Ozempic, great for a lot of people, but we're still discovering some of the side effects of it. And one of the ones that's been popping up is a really common one, and it's the one of these. It's sleep in. They are losing desire to do this. Is it sleep in, have sex, drink alcohol, or cook their own meals? Ronster.
Well, I guess a side effect doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. The only bad thing here to me, like really, I mean, I never really can sleep in. The only bad thing is not wanting to have sex. Not wanting to drink can be great for a lot of people. And I'm sorry, what was the last one?
Cook their own meals.
That's interesting. They don't want to cook their own meals. Well, I wonder if that's tied to not wanting to eat. I don't know anything about this. I see it everywhere, and I know it's like the big hot celebrity thing that'll probably be banned in 2 years because we see these pills come and go. But let me tell you, as a middle-aged man, the Ronster's got a little extra flubber on his midsection, and you know, I'm the type of guy that has fluctuated 10 pounds here and there. I'll go through a phase where it's like, oh, I see it creeping up. I get out on the bike. I'll watch my calories a little bit, ramp down the beer. That'll come back off in a couple months. Those days are gone. This shit hangs around. When you're at this age, it hangs around like, no, motherfucker, you don't understand. The world's going to end. You're not going to get food tomorrow. It's like, no, I'll get food. I'll eat my cats if I have to. Just fucking lose this 10 pounds because I can't fit my favorite clothes. But, so, a pill is really fucking attractive, but not for 10 fucking pounds. I've stepped up my workout routine, and
it's not even a pill. You have to give yourself an injection.
Oh, it's not a pill. Interesting. Okay.
Well, they do have a oral version of it, but it's way less effective.
It's not as good. It's not the good shit.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do way worse than inject ourselves to lose weight. That was just a side tangent, but I guess I'm gonna go with. It makes them not want to have sex. I mean, that's the only side effect that I see as a big problem here.
Okay.
You know, a lot of medicines, what we use them for, were actually side effects from a drug that was invented for something else.
Yeah.
You know, Rogaine was one of those. Well, they kind of all are, to some degree. Yeah. But yeah, I'll go with sex.
Viagra. Viagra was a blood pressure medicine.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, and all of a sudden, there were fucking people that were testing on. We're like, we getting boners real fast.
You know, again, as a middle-aged man, I haven't had that problem yet, and I say it every year. TikTok, although maybe not. You know, some people never need it.
Clock's ticking, Roster.
Yeah, I know. I got friends that are older, significantly older. They don't have to do it, and
sure.
And I got younger friends. The funny thing is that so many young people are doing it. Because of anxiety, you know, performance anxiety. And that's something that I think most dudes have experienced. I certainly have, not on a grand scale, but if it was on a grand scale, I would fucking pop a Viagra. Porn stars do it, and a lot of people are doing their own porn thing with OnlyFans, but they're finding that when you do it on a regular basis, like anything else, it stops working. It's like, man, why are you, as a 25-year-old, unless you really have problems getting it up, if it's performance anxiety, you got to work through that shit. You can find a way. But if you're home alone and you're trying to whack it and you can't get it up, like you have that kind of impotence, then yeah, take a pill. But everyone else that's just eating this shit like candy so that they won't have to worry about, maybe be a little, I must be tired. You know, that whole thing. Motherfuckers, you want that shit waiting for you at the end of this journey. Trust me. I can't wait. Well, I can wait. But I'm excited that if that day comes, there's a little magical pill. Something developed.
Okay. I got you down for a half sex, Ron.
I'll stop tangenting.
John Mark.
I'm gonna go with the alcohol option.
Yeah, that could be an interesting side use for the drug.
Yeah, for sure.
To get you to help you to quit drinking.
Well, as somebody that won the last round, I'd like to say,
yes, our prince.
If you ever want to lose weight, Ron, you could always come to dialysis with me, and it'd take about 10 pounds off me over the day.
Yeah.
He can't possibly lose any more weight. His weight is low already.
Not at this weight.
The one I'm gonna go with is you're gonna have to repeat them.
One of the side effects being noticed is it makes them not want to do one of these things: sleep in, have sex, drink alcohol, or cook their own meals.
Okay, what it's gonna be? It's gonna be?
Yeah, tell us, Lau.
It's gonna be the lack of sleeping in, because I'll tell you why. Because most lose weight pills that you buy are basically caffeine pills, and so what they do is they keep you motivated and you're all jacked up on caffeine, because that's what it is. It's they're not telling you that
some sort of stimulant, yeah.
And then you can't sleep in at night because you're so jacked on coffee from the night before or the day before, the week of
Dexatrin.
Constantly taking these.
Although that wasn't coffee.
Coffee pills, cocaine.
All right, I'll
yeah,
put you
I don't
down
know
for
if this is an
sleep.
upper, but yeah, a lot of diet medication in the past was essentially methamphetamine or amphetamines.
Coffee. That's what I was.
All right. Question 2. This famous actor recently received some bad press for being kind of a jerk on the set of one of their most recent films. It's reported that this leading man would regularly show up 7 to 8 hours late, causing production nightmares and ballooning the film's budget by over $50 million additional dollars.
Well, that is late.
7 to 8, that's like Madonna coming to stage late.
Wow.
Somewhere between 10 and 13 cast members spoke up about his behavior, actually, for this article that they wrote on it, the story. Who are we talking about here? Who's the actor in question? Is it A, Tom Cruise?
It's my choice.
I'm looking forward to this one mostly because I think Lau's going to do the impression. Is it B, The Rock? Way to let me down, Lau. Jesus fucking Christ.
Let me tell you, brother.
Sounded more like a pet rock.
Wasn't it? So what's he say? He goes, "Hey, Chris, what do you think about that, Chris? It doesn't matter what you think, Chris."
It's good.
You should have been like, well, he's going to be 7 to 8 hours late, so you'll get
I'm
the
in
answer.
an apartment. I can't be really screaming in there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, fair enough, buddy.
It's not like
Is
I
it
got
C?
kennels around here.
Is it C? Denzel Washington.
Oh, motherfucking yes.
Huh.
Denzel got to be at least 7 hours late.
I'm gonna put cases on all you motherfuckers.
Oh my. Or is it D?
King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Or is it D? Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Wow, this is a weird list.
Tons of bad press lately.
I'm Batman.
Total jerk on the set. Lots of complaints. 7 to 8 hours late. Ballooning a film's budget by over $50 million specifically because of that.
God, so much
Tom Cruise, The Rock, Denzel, or Affleck?
None of these are people that I would consider being that kind of guy. I mean, even though there are some diva aspects of Tom Cruise for sure, he seems like a guy that really takes his shit seriously, and like acting is his thing, He's like fucking dialed in to that life. I feel like he would respect that, if nothing else, more. But I feel that about Denzel. The Rock, has he earned being that kind of a diva? Ben Affleck, it's interesting because I don't know who Ben Affleck is. When Kevin Smith's when he was in Kevin Smith's movies, he was always my favorite part of the outtakes, of the commentaries. He often played people you didn't necessarily like or root for, even when you were supposed to. Like I didn't like him as Holden in Chasing Amy, and you were kind of supposed to. I identified with more of the characters around him, but those outtakes and especially the commentaries, he's so fucking funny, and he seemed like such a normal kind of guy. But now I follow some people on TikTok that they're not like paparazzi, but they show up to a lot of these events and just get like red carpet footage. You know, they're not like peeking over walls and trying to get, you know, these clandestine scoop photos, but they're covering celebrities, and he just always seems like such a miserable fuck. Like he just seems like he hates life now. So that's the only reason I'm going with that, is like maybe he's just going through some shit. And there's all these rumors that he and J-Lo are splitting up. And she's been kind of acting kooky lately. I don't know. I have a hard time seeing any of them really doing this, but I'm going to go with Ben just because of that.
Okay. John Mark.
I'm going to say The Rock.
So that's another one I would have a hard time.
Well, I'm not.
All these guys, I feel like, have made an effort to show them being a good person in public.
All right. I'm going to take that shoe. I'm going to turn it sideways.
I mean,
and show it up your candy ass.
Tom Cruise is like, on the one hand, you could see being a diva, but
no.
But he's
Tom
so
Cruise.
fucking.
He's a professional.
So crazy about his acting. Yeah.
Well, Tom Cruise, he's
feel.
really into his shit because he does all his own stunts and stuff like that. He choreographs stunts around movies.
Choreographs.
He like plans out these awesome fucking stunts.
Choreographs.
And with no movie. And
he gains all the rate that he needs to gain.
Well, he'll just wrap a movie around it and have it made. He's that big.
Yeah.
But he's a fucking
I'll be
complete
surprised if it's Tom Cruise. Anybody else, it's a
Tom Cruise.
crapshoot.
It's 100% Tom Cruise.
You think it's Tom Cruise?
I'm going with Tom Cruise because I've heard horror stories of that man just belittling the shit out of fucking other actors, camera people, people on set. Just a fucking dick.
Let's see. Okay, question 3. Speaking of highly paid actors, Leonardo DiCaprio recently did an interview where he admitted he turned down a lead role in this movie, and he considers it one of his biggest regrets. Fucking love these questions. Yeah. What movie does Leo really regret turning one of the lead roles down in?
Titanic.
Is it A, Fight Club?
Hey, we don't talk about that.
Oh, I could see him in Fight Club. Either role. Either leading role. Really.
Yeah. Is it B, American Psycho?
Okay.
Is it C, Boogie Nights?
Oh. Interesting.
Or is it D, Almost Famous?
I don't know that one.
Well, this is tough. Boogie Nights is interesting because I know I feel like Mark Wahlberg wasn't either the original choice or he didn't want to do it. There's something, I know there's a lot of interesting things with that movie because Burt Reynolds didn't want to do it, but then he did it, and then he thought he hated Paul Thomas Anderson, the director, punched him actually, and then disowned the movie, and then it started winning Oscars. Man, I could see all of it, but Almost Famous, boy, we don't talk about that movie as much as we talk about. Well, maybe we do. I don't know. Fuck, I could see him in Fight Club more than I could see, but that doesn't mean that that's the answer. For some reason, I'm gonna go with Boogie Nights just because I know that there's a lot of weirdness with the casting in that movie, as far as who ended up being in that lead role, but I don't remember the ins and outs, but in the interest of brevity, I'll go there.
Okay. John Mark.
I was trying to do age math.
Yeah.
to figure out how old Leo would have been
How'd that work
when
out
each
for
of his
you?
movies came out, and
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
The problem with
so
Leo
I'm
is
going-
that he seemed 15 until suddenly he seemed 35. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like
Yeah.
50.
he was young,
So
young, and then all of a sudden, not old, but this Leo.
I'm
Well, he
going
was
with
distinguished.
almost famous.
So, yeah.
I love it. Okay.
I'm gonna go with
I
Boogie
just can't
Nights
imagine
under the
regretting not being in that movie.
concept of how, with like him in Quentin Tarantino movies, like I think he actually really enjoyed it, being in a restaurant or you know something like that. And Boogie Nights, if you get yourself in the 70s,
Led to the greatest
baby,
meme of all time.
man. Bow, 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 bow. Oh yeah.
Boogie
Dude,
Nights is
70s
one of my
is a big
favorite
word.
movies of all time. I fucking love that movie.
Wouldn't be such a great, I mean, just to be cast in a movie that was like based like that, you know, like in the.
It was a
heavy
hard
set.
movie to work on, apparently.
I think that he would probably regret not being on it.
All right, you guys, listen up.
There you go.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's anybody's game.
Oh man.
So it's 1 to 1 to 1.
Well, not necessarily. I just want to say anyone can win this still with a tiebreaker.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. This one's a bit wonky. Bear with me here. End of the night, baby. Let's roll.
Let's wonky it up.
I could eat.
Ride or die. We riding or dying.
Let me get my sardines.
Okay.
Scrape the tin.
You're like, God, somebody grab me a Q-tip. I need this.
Go ahead.
A Colombian woman was recently featured on a local news station claiming that she had a 20-year sexual relationship with a ghost. She said her relationship with the ghost was great and he would visit her nightly. But she decided to dump him when one night he actually appeared to her and she saw this. She was actually able to see him for the first time.
Okay.
And this is what she saw. Was it A?
Gentle words.
I love it
She
already.
saw that his face looked like a gargoyle and had fangs.
Fucking sick, bro.
Yeah, that's not for everybody.
That's some black metal shit right there, buddy.
No.
She saw that he was wearing a Make America Great Again baseball cap.
Trump hat.
That'd be out.
Yeah.
That's an easy.
You dumped.
That's an
He
either
gone.
I'm all the way in or I'm all the way out. So-
Totally. Was it C? She saw the ghost use the bathroom and not put the toilet seat back down afterwards.
That motherfucker.
I can't live with this motherfucker.
Or D? She saw
Dude,
that his
why would the
moans of-
ghost need to fucking pee, first of all? Let alone
It's just
need to
ectoplasm.
use the mechanism of seats and lids.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
He slimed me.
Well, it's a story for a
Oh,
reason.
he slimed the seat. That's what happened.
Oh, you don't want slime on the seat.
Oh, God.
That's a deal breaker in anybody's book.
Yeah, that's a dumping.
By the way, I
Or
hate
what?
I hate to interrupt, but I have to.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I'm not going to do it.
No,
I think it'll.
No, we're
it's
here.
Okay.
Too late now. Go with
It
I'm
occurred
not
to
going
me.
forward till you-
It occurred to me recently that
Yeah.
there are certain things that guys do that women don't necessarily, and one of those things is regularly lift up the seat.
Yeah.
So if you're a single gal, or just a gal, I guess a gal doesn't. You don't have to be single.
Yeah, it's just,
Maybe just occasionally check under the seat to see if maybe something you did
Oh, yeah.
hooked around the horn, shall we say. You guys know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
that's-
about?
Oh,
Yeah, I think so.
we see under the the seat.
Sometimes
I
The
don't
old,
think women
uh,
usually see. So there's a lot of things to be discovered when you're visiting either a friend. There's no guy
if you're
that
at
lives there.
home, it's
or
one
some-
of those things. We'll just, well, if you're at home, it's just one of those things. We'll just grab it and lift it up. But like, I mean, fuck, if you're actually have company, you know, visiting a company or something like that, we use our feet typically. That's how I do it. anyway.
I'm well. That's an interesting question. I lift the seat to pee. I don't pee. I don't try to like. Again, I'm an older man and I have prostate
right.
prostate growing. So there was a time when I could just, mostly.
Oh, you're not a
make it
sitter
on
though.
the
You're
outside.
you're a stander. You're not a sitter.
Well, yeah, I stand and pee, but I'm saying I lift the seat, and I lift the seat when I'm in other people's houses, and I'm just saying, it's about time that we tell our women friends that they may just want to check under the seat, because I cannot tell you how many times I've been to someone's house and lifted up the seat, and it was like, oh, they have no idea that's there.
A little backsplash, maybe, you know,
or a lot of backsplash.
A blop, a bloop and a blop. You don't want that.
You guys remember that one time we were like, we can do a podcast in an hour?
Yeah.
We're almost done. We just had to, but listen, that was a public service announcement. We are helping each other out here. It's an important thing. I guarantee you, somebody is listening and they're like, what are they talking about? They're going to go to their bathroom, lift up the seat, like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Why have I never lifted up I know they lift it occasionally to probably clean the thing, but not as regularly as we do. When you're
feeling grateful for that tidbit from Ron, you go to patreon.com/Tales from the Space Pod.
$5, man.
You show how much you appreciate that.
Yeah.
To Ronster.
Share your shame bucks with us. We will gladly cash them.
All right, let me read these again because I still have one. I didn't get to
sorry.
D, but I'm sure I'm gonna have to read them again anyway. So let me just do it for you now. She eventually dumped the ghost because he appeared to her and she saw this was his face, which looked like a gargoyle, had fangs. Does it be that he was wearing a mega cap? Does it C, she saw the ghost use the bathroom and didn't put the seat down after he went pee-pee? Or is it D, she saw that his moans of pleasure during sex were actually his sobs of sadness?
These are all things that could work in the non-spiritual world.
Sure. Yeah.
You do a check-in if someone's crying during sex.
I typically look for the tears first.
Since I've stolen so much time, I got a lot I want to say, but I'm just going to cut to my chase. I think I'm going to go with, I really like D, but I think I'm going to go with he was wearing a MAGA hat.
MAGA cap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, John, Mark.
Ghost wearing a MAGA hat.
You know, Strange Bill, I saw Sobs of Sadness open for Sad Happy in like 93.
Nice.
So I'm going for that. Sobs of Sadness.
Yeah, D is solid. I like that one.
You know, I have to go with it because of the old podcast, because, you know, the tearsing. You know what I'm saying?
Tearsing, yeah.
Gonna sob it up.
The poor ghost had the tearsing.
I thought you were gonna go with it because of toilet.
No, close, but tearsing.
Well, when you first read the question, I thought that you were going to say that this lady had been dating a goat for 30 years. I was like, well, where's this going?
Oh my! All right, let's go over these answers. See how we did. Ozempic sweeping the nation. Still learning the side effects of this drug, and one of them is that people do not want to drink alcohol as frequently as they once did when they're at a higher dosage on that. So that's kind of fascinating. Yeah. So it's maybe two benefits
could be
there.
a separate use.
John Mark strikes first, strikes hard, no mercy.
Well, at least it's not like anal bleeding.
Cobra Kai.
You know what I mean? You always watch them on TV. These, you know.
Oh, you're talking about like anal leakage?
Yeah, they're like, oh, and may cause. Okay, this is just to cure. This is to cure your acne. You know, may give you anal leakage, cancer in the.
I'll take
toe.
the zits.
Yeah, but
I'll take forever acne for $500, Alex.
Yeah, and you have all these people like, you know, at the beach or fucking eating at a diner or something.
Not leaking out the anals. Yeah.
Exactly. God, I hate those commercials.
Question 2. This famous actor recently had some bad press for kind of being a big dick. Showing up on set 7 to 8 hours late on average, causing production nightmares, ballooning films' budgets, and kind of just being a jerk. 10 to 13 cast members spoke up about this for this article, and we were talking about The Rock.
Really?
shit.
Wow.
Yeah. There was a big story about it, and I don't know, he's just... Maybe he's not in a good place. But,
You will wait
yeah,
for The Rock.
Steroids, for fuck's sakes. He's big, dude.
Yeah.
He's bigger than you can be on just lifting weights.
Well, who knows? Probably.
Yeah.
Well, steroids are legal as long as you're not competing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
There is steroids, but that's
John Mark got that correct.
I think they're legal, aren't they? I think it's just
Well,
competition.
some are, and you're right, some are, but the same side effects are always the same. It's violent tendencies. It's just all in all being
Maybe being a
dick,
diva.
not yourself.
Yeah.
So
John Mark got that correct, giving him 2 points now, guys.
This doesn't feel
Question.
as anyone can win it as you led on.
yeah, I think John Mark's
Let's
got
get
it.
to question 3, little bitch.
Two more.
Always
I mean, I don't want to be the Rock here, but
I like my fucking 5-year-old when I'm beating him in fucking Mario Kart.
this isn't
Chris, what do you think
fair.
about that?
I feel like I can win.
It's unfair.
Chris, what do you think about that? It
Daddy-
doesn't matter what you think.
Daddy cheat.
Yeah, damn it.
Okay.
Hi, Leonardo DiCaprio. Let's fucking talk about him. He recently did an interview where he admitted he turned down a lead role in Boogie Nights, and it has been his biggest professional regret.
I could see him in it. Honestly.
Yeah, he was gonna be the Marky Mark character.
Yeah.
Ron and Lyle got that correct, giving them a point. Let's see what happens in question 4 here. A Colombian woman was banging a ghost. 20 years she had this relationship. Never saw him though. He came nightly, and he came nightly. If you know what I'm saying. But he
Came as fast as you went, if you know what I'm saying.
he eventually would appear before her, and she had to dump him because she looked into his face, and he had a face of a gargoyle with fangs.
Interesting.
Nobody got it right. It's the weakest of the answers. Had to use that story because I was running dry, guys.
That was good.
Oh wow.
So that makes John Mark our winner this week. Well done, sir.
Well,
King
congrats.
returns.
Yeah. I feel
Wouldn't that
very
be
comfortable
weird?
being back in the loser seat.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be weird if that chick like lived in an apartment and there was just like a gargoyle that was like up the stairs, like mounted on the staircase, and she just like came drunk. She was just an
He's
alcoholic.
like
20
grinding
years in
the
a row.
gargoyle.
Yeah, just out fucking a gargoyle, and then realized what she was doing.
I wonder if she thought that suddenly she was fucking a demon.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I bet.
But I mean, come on, 30 years? Like,
Horns.
how has the passion been?
I mean, it's good. She said it was good. She said she really enjoyed it.
Like, dude
And
can't
then
come
she
out to
saw-
you as a gargoyle after 30 years of loving?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
gargoyle.
it's
Obviously.
weak.
I'm on Team Gargoyle. I don't think she was very...
I got something to confess to you, baby.
she gargled the gargoyle for 30
I'm a
years.
gargoyle.
Come on. No love for
I
gargoyle?
heard they're gargoyles are stone and they're pretty, hard most of the time.
I'm happy with it. Go ahead, John Mark.
No, I just said I got something to confess to you, baby. I'm a gargoyle.
Oh,
Zip.
well,
Gargoyles don't wear clothes, do they? No, come on.
That one might.
I love the idea of a gargoyle and a pair of fucking Wranglers.
Come on, baby.
I'm a gargoyle. On a cement stack I perch, and I'm wanted. Zip.
Oh, yeah, you.
Inside your snurch. I had to rhyme. Someone's had to call it a snurch over the years. All right. Well, that was fun. Congrats, John Mark, and congrats, Lyle. I guess next week I'll try to get my seat back in the winner's position. But I don't know. I feel like I've been on a bit of a streak.
You can do it. You can do it.
Well, I've proved that I
If I
can.
can do it, you can do it.
Don't call it a comeback, baby.
All right.
Gotta come.
On that.
I'm a
Back
gargoyle.
here.
I'm still sad that you guys didn't laugh at my. She's been gargling a gargoyle for 30 years, and she should show more respect.
Oh, I missed it.
No, it felt like low hanging fruit. It wasn't your best work.
Oh, hanging. No, they're high perched. It's high perched fruit. It's the highest perched fruit in the city, Chris. I'm actually working on a story about gargoyles.
I bet you are.
I'm also going to talk about gargoyles. For the
Horns
comment.
and horns.
There's some fascinating gargoyles out there. Do you remember we talked about the alien one? Remember where the alien one is? I feel like it's somewhere in Europe.
It's got like an elongated head.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the xenomorph from Alien. Yeah.
Alien
yeah.
gargoyle. Let me just look that up. Oh, Glasgow. Yeah.
Oh, that's Scotland, isn't it?
Strange bovine gargoyle is said to have been put as as a passive aggressive form of revenge. Well, we might have to talk about that later, but
That's
it's
right.
It's straight up, yeah, xenomorph. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Anyway, all right, y'all. Tune in next week or next month, whenever we get around to doing it. We'll be talking about 9/11 and probably some other treats. I'm going to try to get that guy on to talk about AI, because clearly we got questions, and I don't expect him to have all the answers, but I think he's going to be a fun guest to have on. So
Sure.
try to work that
It's been
out.
a while since we had a guest.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. It's
Hell
fun
yeah.
to just kick back and just shoot the shit.
Yeah.
All right. See y'all next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
So they actually buttered the gods up to get what they wanted.
Weird.
It is weird.